Come on, everybody get set, let's go. It's the next episode. It's the Premium Pete Show. News, interviews, all of the info. Listen up, it's the Premium Pete Show. If you want the scoop in the low, down low, listen to the show, cause Milk said so. Fuck what you heard, better act like you know. It's the Premium Pete Show.
Hey, Tennis, welcome back to another episode of the Premium Pete Show. Sitting here with a longtime friend.
Yes, sir.
Man, there's so much to say about this dude, man. Just a great journey, and I always love bringing the audience great journeys. You know, you talk about somebody who was a walk-on, turned his dreams into reality, traveled the world, Brooklynite, fellow sneaker lover.
Yes, sir.
Just a friend, Smush Park in the building.
What's going on, Premium Pete?
Man. First of all, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I've seen you just develop over the years, even more so much like become a father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I seen you when you were playing ball in the NBA, then overseas. I mean, right off the bat, I want to talk about something. You said that, what did you play in? What sneakers did you play in when you were playing in the NBA?
When I was playing in the NBA, I was playing in Nikes.
Okay. Did you have like a sponsorship or something?
It was more so endorsements.
Okay, so you just get free kicks and shit.
Free kicks. Now, I currently play in Brand Black.
Okay. And that's Jamal Crawford's brand, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason by it? Is it comfortable? Is it?
They're comfortable. You know, it's just something different. You know, over the years, I've graduated from playing in Nikes to playing in Adidas. Now I play in Brand Black. You know, it's all performance shoe.
Yeah, the reason I say that for is because, obviously I know you in the sense of sneaker sense. We love to floss. I mean, so we had Jordans, Uptowns, everything. But you know what? There is a performance basketball game, footwear. Meaning like, when Jordan was making all these, Jordan 30s, 29s, all these different performance, but it's more expensive.
Yes, sir.
And I feel like, I say this all the time, that they stopped putting good materials in Jordans because people weren't hooping in them.
Yep.
I know the NBA sometimes has like people wearing Yeezys now or, foam pods and shit like that. But I mean, the game is to me, performance based. It's tough. It's tough because people can't afford performance sneakers. And does it really matter, performance sneakers? Do you think so?
It definitely matters. A real performance shoe definitely takes care of your ankles, your feet, and your knees and all that stuff. But a lot of the sneakers now are just style. It's just for a look. Not to knock Nike, but Nikes right now are just for the look, not performance. It doesn't make sense for guys. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, to play in low tops.
Yeah.
Granted, the pros, we tape. We're professionals. They tape, so we have ankle support. But you got guys playing in the street in low tops. That's dangerous.
Sure.
These guys ain't getting taped up playing in the gym. We as professionals can, play in low top sneakers. But, the average Joe Smo is getting these low tops that they see. Steve Nash started that trend, wearing low top sneakers. Playing on concrete with the cracks, that's not a good look.
What size shoe you wear?
I wear size 12.
A size 12. And what year did you get into 12?
Well, I play in 12s because I play in extra socks, but I wear, a size 11.
Okay. But when you were growing up, you had a size like
9, 10,
okay.
10 and a half.
Because, some kids are like 12 when they're like 12. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Nah, I never had, extremely big feet.
Okay. All right. I ain't asking for any of those reasons if people are trying to say. But listen, Smush, let's get back to born and raised in Brooklyn.
Yes, sir.
Kings County.
Yes, sir.
Come on, man.
County of Kings.
Fellow Brooklynite.
Stand up.
Mom and dad, you mentioned this before, mom and dad play ball. What does that mean? How did mom and dad play ball? Explain that to me.
What do you mean, man? It's New York City. There's a street, but there's a basketball court on every corner in New York City. There's no way you could grow up in New York City and not play basketball. My dad played, at West 4th Street. Everybody knows, West 4th Street. My dad played there. My mom also played.
What did your mom play?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to ask her. She passed when I was young. So I just know that she was around the game. She played a little bit. So even before I was born, I was always hearing the beat of the basketball. And when I was born, West 4th Street just became my crib, literally. I'm not exaggerating. West 4th Street was my crib. Got it tattooed on my leg, got it tattooed on my arm. West 4th Street was my crib growing up.
You know, you lost your mother at a young age.
Yes, sir.
Now your father, did he have to raise you?
Yes.
So, you know, because I heard you mention before that, you know, you played with a lot of older men, you know, meaning in basketball.
Yeah.
And they would bully you or just make it hard for you. You know how OGs are, like, you know, they ain't going to give you a bucket.
Definitely
Or they're not going to give you, you know, let you just, you know, walk in and do whatever you want. Was that tough for you to not have the mom type of, you know, soft love?
Well, I didn't know what soft love was. You know, it was just tough for me to not have a mom, period. You know, it wasn't just because I was looking for soft love, but I knew when she passed, I was 9. So I you know, I had her for 9 years. So I knew what it was to have her around. And when she was gone, I was old enough to know that she wasn't there anymore. And I knew that there was something missing. But, you know, like you said, my dad raised me. You know, he's my best friend, put it that way. But back I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 81, 80s, 90s. That's when family was family, community was community. Sure. So my dad had help. You know,
friends, uncle.
Yeah, uncles, aunts. You know, neighbors. You know, that was the years where the neighbors were able to
watch you.
Yeah, watch you, take care of you, raise you, and say, you know, discipline you if you needed to be disciplined. Nowadays, you can't say nothing to nobody.
Yeah. You know, it's a great point because it's like, I remember neighbors too, like, yo, what the fuck you doing over here? You know, I'm going to tell your mother. Like, I'll call your mother right now. You going home.
Yes, sir.
Now it's like, you know, people don't care or people don't.
You know, the parents are like, what do you, don't say nothing to my child.
Yeah.
You're not their parent.
You know, I realized too, as being a parent, and I know you became a parent a couple of years ago, you know, it's like sometimes I feel like we're too protective with our kids where you have the blinders on. You know, you got to be very open-minded. You know, I've learned that throughout the years. You know, sometimes, like, not my kid. Like, I remember my mother, like, it's crazy, too, because I remember I got caught with weed in the house. And my mother, like, you know, and I remember my father telling her, it's weed. It's weed. And I was like, Ma, it's pencil shavings. And she's like, my son wouldn't have any weed in the house. And I was like, let's see, Ma, would I ever do that to you? But what I'm saying is sometimes parents are blind. Not saying you or me. But it trust me, like, and the crazy thing is kids will always try to get over on you. My daughter's 17 years old. She continuously tries to get over me. I'm like, yo, you think I'm that fucking dumb? I'm still young. You know what I mean? I've done what you have tried to do. You know, like, you know. Anyway, you recently become a dad. You know, a couple of years ago. How old is your daughter?
She's 5 now.
Okay, yeah. How has that been for you?
It's been an amazing journey. It's been life changing. When she was born, you know, like you said, you know, everybody knows I played in the NBA 6 years. When she was born, it was the biggest accomplishment I've ever accomplished in my life. I wouldn't, if somebody would have told me having my daughter or playing in the NBA, choose one, I would have had my daughter. That's how excited I was of being a dad. You know, just seeing that little face that looks exactly like you. You know, looks up at you and smiles at you, you know, is dependent on you. You know, somebody that you can love on and kiss on. And that feeling of being a dad was the most incredible feeling in the world to me. Yeah,
it's important, you know, to experience those feelings, man. I'll tell you one thing, man. When I had my daughter, man, I felt the same way. I still feel that even having a son, you know, it's like, it's just that they change you, man.
Yes,
they give you reason. I'll be honest with you, too. Like, people look at you, they may say, you know, oh, Smush, you played in the NBA, did this. They don't realize maybe you're not always fully happy. Maybe you get depressed at times. But kids, I feel like, yo, they make you smile even when you may not want to smile.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And like you said, you know, earlier in our whole conversation outside, you know, there's something about having a little girl that just makes fathers just melt.
Yeah, sure.
Just like my heart just melts for my daughter.
Yeah. No, it's a special thing, man. It's a special thing. But let's get back to, so you're in West 4th Court.
Yes, sir.
Living there.
Yes, sir.
Growing up there. Playing with all the OGs.
Yes, sir.
How did you prove to them that you were good? Because I'm sure you said that they were knocking you down. I'm sure they wouldn't let you score a fucking basket. And those are a lot of old heads that are hard-headed. Like, they would never just let you get a bucket.
You know what? I still got to prove to them that I'm good, man. I'm still fighting to this day to, get on the court and play. And, West 4th Street is not about giving respect. That's what made West 4th Street West 4th Street. They didn't give guys respect. It's not about who you are and what name you came in with. It's about you showing up, playing hard, winning basketball games. And that's just the culture I grew up in, and that's what, made me tough. That's what gave me the edge to beat the guys out. That was, quote unquote, went to the better universities than I did.
Okay.
Went to, who was, quote unquote, oh yeah, this guy's going to the NBA. These guys, over here, is going to the NBA. But who's Smush?
Who were some of the people you looked up to in West 4th?
Man, so many names, man.
See if you could drop some.
So many names. Everybody there is family. Shout out to my Uncle Ice. Shout out to Uncle Doc. Shout out to Air Ross. Shout out to Uncle Rock also. A lot of guys, man. I call him my uncle because they all raised me. They all raised me.
Do you know there's a lot of, I don't know if you ever seen this, but I think that there's tons of, even like Tinker Hatfield, big designer at Nike. I remember him mentioning that he used to come down as business trips to West 4th and watch the kids play to get some experience on designs and just what he wanted to do. I mean, there was a lot of people coming there, to check out what was going on and check the plays, What about even when you were playing, was there any scouts there or any?
Listen, I didn't know if there were scouts there. It could have been NBA coaches there. I didn't know. I was just playing basketball. When I was young, it was all about the love of the game. I wasn't doing it for the fame. I wasn't doing it for the money. I wasn't doing it to try to even make the NBA. I was just playing to play because I loved the game.
You always mentioned that you loved the game, and then you said that when you got into the game, that you kind of fell out of love with it.
Uh-oh.
No, I know you mentioned that somewhat, right?
No, yeah, it's unfortunate, but basketball here in America is a business. And I didn't learn that until I was 36 years old.
Yeah, break that down, for people who are listening. What is not a business if it's not is overseas different?
No, overseas is definitely different. There's no politics involved, or less politics involved. There's no sponsors and there's no advertisement. There's no TV deals. It's just all about winning games out there.
How do the players make money? How do they get a salary?
Overseas?
Yeah.
I mean, teams out in overseas are independently owned.
Okay.
Here corporations own teams. The TV deals, own teams and arenas and things like that. So they want to make money that way, and advertise commercials and image. It's a business here. You have to look a certain way. Allen Iverson wasn't Allen Iverson when he got to the NBA. Prime example. He didn't have all the tattoos and the braids and the gold and the jewelry. Had Allen Iverson been Allen Iverson before he got drafted, he probably would have never got drafted.
You mentioned that being in the league, playing for 6 years in NBA.
Yeah.
Did you, besides getting a salary, did you get any type of commercials you did, or any type of extra things that you had to do, or to make extra money
outside of playing in the NBA?
No, well, I guess for your agent or something like that.
Nah, I never had.
Some people get Subway commercials.
Yeah, I never had anything. My name wasn't that big.
Okay.
I did little, New York City stuff. My face was all over the billboards doing ads, campaign ads for Nike and stuff like that back in the day. But I didn't get paid for that stuff.
Yeah.
But that was just local. That was New York City.
I think the game has expanded too a lot more now. Meaning they have brand managers now besides only managers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even in the sense of, and we'll get to it, we'll bounce around, but getting yourself a business manager. Did you ever have one, or a lawyer?
No.
Okay. So how did you know how to control yourself in spending? Because like, yo, we met years years ago.
You know I didn't control myself in spending.
No,
man.
but how do you like?
You know I did.
No, I know. Yo, well, let me tell you something, Internet. When I was in retail, man, yo, Smush is a true sneaker lover, man. Not once, not twice, but multiple times. Smush would come, and you know how somebody would say, let me get 2 pairs of those. Smush would say, let me get those. Yeah, let me get those, and those. Yeah, let me get that too. Okay, those. Yo, Smush would spend not 1 time, not 2 times, not 3 times, but thousands on kicks.
Oh, man.
And you had that Mercedes. Yo, you know what? We had to talk beforehand. You had that Mercedes that what was that? The 2-door.
It was actually a 4-door S65.
Okay, it was 4-door. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was 2-door.
V12 bi-turbo.
And when you said that once the baby came, you started to change things around.
Oh,
But
yeah.
also, I feel like you found church and stuff like that I heard you speak about.
Mhm.
But you more so changed your flashy type super style for what?
No, well, once I had my daughter, it wasn't, about me anymore. I had, somebody else I had to provide for, so she became number one. And before her, I was living for myself. I was traveling, buying, sneakers, buying clothes, buying jewelry, putting unnecessary money in the cars. Now that I think, now that I'm older now, I know that some of the stuff I did when I was 20s with money is kind of like.
What do you mean, like accessories, rims?
Listen, I put so much money into the cars. Like, rims, yeah. But I mean, I was flipping cars upside down, turning them inside out, changing everything.
What would you say is the most craziest thing you ever bought? Or the one you look back and like, damn, man, I'm just being foolish.
You know what? You know what's crazy? The one thing I say was foolish is I bought the Air Mags.
Oh, okay, the Back to the Future joints.
Yeah.
How much were those joints?
$5,000.
Okay. Hey, listen, that's actually
$5,000.
not bad I seen people pay more money than that.
Yeah, but
No, I know.
right.
I know.
About 4 pair of sneakers.
I know, but you don't realize that until you get older.
Exactly.
And then you have a kid, and then you start thinking of shit like that.
And that's exactly when the light bulb went off and I stopped doing all that stuff as soon as my baby was born.
Mm-mm.
Like you said, life changes for you once you have a child.
No, it definitely does. When you look back playing in West 4th Street, when did you think that you were good enough to make it to the NBA?
That's a good question, but I always knew.
Mm.
And I said earlier, I wasn't playing at West 4th Street or playing at any park to make the NBA or to impress anybody. I just knew that when I saw, the NBA and watching basketball on TV, and that was a job. That was a way to make money. I knew I loved to play basketball. I was like, that's what I want to do. I had no idea on how to get there. I didn't have a scheme, a plan. I didn't play on any AAU teams. I didn't go to a big, junior high school or a big basketball program high school. I was just playing basketball because I loved the game.
Where'd you go? You went to Fordham?
I went to Fordham. I went to Newtown High School in Queens.
Okay. And then you transferred to Fordham?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to junior college 1 year, and then I came back and transferred to Fordham.
What made you do that?
Junior college, I didn't have the grades.
Mm.
Leaving high school.
Was that? But that was a good move for you at that time?
Oh yeah, it was definitely it was the best plan. It was
Yeah.
the best plan for me, because at that time I knew the road I needed to take to get to the NBA when I went to college. But when I was in high school, I was just playing basketball because I loved the game.
Yeah.
Then I had, I started meeting people because I was good, and they was telling me, listen, you need to go to this university. You need to do it this way. You need to do it that way. Shout out to Rodney Parker, no relation, but he's the one that laid the foundation for me to get to the NBA. It was like the yellow brick road. He had everything planned out.
Did you trust in him at the time?
I trusted. Yes, I put my basketball career in his hands, and he pretty
Where'd you
much,
meet this guy?
Rodney Park, playing at West 4th Street.
Wow.
I was playing as a kid. I was 15, 16 years old, just playing in the park, and he came, saw me, and was like, listen, yo, you good, come to this park. I want you to play against this kid. And I would go because I love playing the game. I'd go there, destroy. He'd take me to this park out in Queens, take me to this court out in the Bronx, take me to this court out in. So he expanded my basketball, my basketball branches. I grew up at West 4th Street. That's where I was playing.
Sure. I feel like in life, in anything you do, you always need a mentor and a hype man. You know, because you look at it like, say if you were an artist and your bars were crazy, people would take you around like, yo, battle this dude. Yo, he nasty. Yeah, battle this dude. Yeah, battle. So they were doing that in basketball for you. Like, yo, play. Oh, I told you this kid's nasty.
Yep.
And I feel like you always need that mentor, and that you know, when you got in, and we'll go over it. But do you still talk to this guy, or he passed away?
He passed away.
Okay, rest in peace.
When I tell you, like, he laid out the road, the foundation for me. He was like, if you follow these steps, you will make it to the NBA. He knew I was good enough. I knew I was good enough, but I didn't have a game plan. He had the game plan, and literally, I followed his steps, step by step, and where I end up.
In the NBA. And we'll get to that soon. Your favorite player as a kid growing up?
Come on, man. I grew up in the 80s and 90s.
Tongue out.
Exactly. Air.
Michael
Air.
Michael Air. His airness, yeah.
His airness.
You know, everybody wanted to be like Mike Ben, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just cocky but confident, flashy. You
wasn't seeing that kind of flair.
Yeah.
Back then. That, you know, just coming down the lane and dunking on people. It was, for me, you know what? For me, it was who else was there to watch?
Yeah.
They wasn't even playing the Knicks on television when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It was always the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls was always being aired on TV. When
you were in the NBA and you would, you know, come down the lane and dunk on somebody, did you ever try to emulate Jordan or just emulate yourself?
Nah, I just...
Like your first time, couple of times, you know what I mean? Like, meaning like, you know, you coming down that lane and...
Well, I mean, everybody wanted to... I guess there was some kind of airness in my mind that come down the lane.
I seen a couple of throw downs from you.
You know, I'm not a real big guard. You know, I don't have big hands. I could never...
How tall are you?
I'm 6'4" now, but when I was growing up, I was always short.
Okay.
You know, I couldn't palm the ball like Mike. I just wanted to come down and jump and dunk it over people.
Listen, you banged it on a couple of people. I forgot who were some of the people you banged it on. Do you remember those moments?
Oh, I remember the moments. I remember.
There's a couple of people, man. There's a couple of people that
the one that sticks out to me the most is the one when I dunked on Ben Wallace.
Oh, really?
Because he was the defensive player of the year that year.
Oh, in Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we're gonna get to how you got an NBA because I really feel like your story, honestly, is an amazing journey. Just from playing in the, basically, we could say it like this: a kid growing up in New York City that, you know, played in the playgrounds of New York City and made it all the way to the courts of the NBA. You know, that sounds like it's like a together sentence, but that takes a long time to get there. Yeah. So let's take it. You play in Fordham, right? You even play with A. Butter, right?
Adrian Ward.
That's right.
That's right.
Shout out to
him, what he's doing.
Yeah, no. I like that Streets First podcast. You know, really just, you know, something he loves and focusing on that.
Yeah.
But you play with him, right? And how long did you stay in Fordham?
I was there 1 year.
1 year?
1 year.
Why?
Because I knew where I wanted to go.
Okay.
No, actually, you know what? That's a lie. I knew where I wanted to go, but my plan was to stay in Fordham for at least 2 years.
Okay.
And there's a long story on why I was only there for one. I'll give you the short version.
Okay.
After my first season playing at Fordham, I wanted to test the waters to see, you know, what kind of competition it was going to be, where I needed to be to get to the NBA. So there's a process where you can put your name in a draft, go to all the combines, work out, and then remove yourself out of the draft and still be eligible to play the next year in college. So that's what I did. You know, it was just to test the waters to see what the comp was like. So I'm going to these combines. You know, I'm meeting up with guys who, you know, I don't want to drop any names, but these are guys who did their thing in big D1, you know, basketball programs, Maryland, Gonzaga, Duke, North Carolina, and I am destroying these guys, like washing these guys, and my name started circulating around, you know, through the gym, all the coaches, all the scouts, you know, everybody in the gym was, who's this Smush Parker kid? Where did he come from? So by the end of the combine, I had an unsigned agent at the time who was like, listen, there are people, there are teams, everybody's talking about you. They're saying that you could go lottery. They're saying that you could do this. What you want to do? So I decided to keep my name in the draft.
And this was what? How old were you?
I was 21.
Okay.
I was 21. And there's also a long story on why I didn't get drafted.
Okay, well, give us the short one.
Well, as you could imagine, this wasn't my decision to stay in the draft. Didn't go over with my college coach. Because with me leaving would have messed up his program. He was counting on me to build his program.
What was that guy's name? He was
Bob Hill.
Bob Hill.
He
yeah.
played it. He
Rest in
coached.
peace.
Did he pass?
Yeah, no, didn't he?
I don't know. I don't think Bob Hill passed.
I thought he did.
Oh, I have no idea. I stopped following him after my college career. You know, he was disappointed that I was leaving his program. So
Why? Because he wanted to win in college?
exactly,
That's crazy that some coaches could be selfish like that.
ain't it?
But don't you want the betterment of the players to move on?
Exactly. So he wasn't happy and pleased. So he sabotaged my name throughout the NBA.
Really?
Yes, sir.
How did he do that?
I mean, of course, you know, these scouts want to know where I came from, what kind of kid I was. Am I coachable? Am I this? Am I that? So they gave my college coach a call, and when they did that, he went out his way to, talk negatively about me. And he coached in the NBA 15 years, so he had the pull to do that. People trusted his word.
Did you bump heads with him a lot?
I didn't.
So why would he?
Like I said, he wanted me to come back to his program. He wasn't pleased with me leaving his program. So
and this is the head coach of Fordham.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something, man. I said rest in peace. I don't know if he passed. Okay, but it doesn't matter. Rest in peace anyway. Because after doing something like that, rest in peace to even wanting to know you. Like, now, did you ever get a chance to tell him, like, fuck, why would you do that shit?
I don't know why. He denies it to this day, but I have NBA teams who've played me his voicemail messages that he's left saying some foul stuff.
So because of that, you didn't get
I
drafted?
didn't get drafted.
Okay.
And I actually had a choice to get drafted in the second round, but I opted out of not getting drafted out of the second round.
Do you regret that today?
No. When that happens, when a team drafts you in the second round, you're bound to that team. Whether they need you or not, they can cut you at any time. They could draft you and say they have already 4 point guards and I'm a point guard. They could bring you in and then release you, but you're still tied to that one team. I decided not to get drafted so I could have the choice on what team I wanted to go to. So it was a game plan, and it worked in my favor because I was able to sit down with my team, my agent, and was like, okay, well, this is the best situation for me to go to. And let me go try to make the Cleveland Cavaliers team because they have, 3 point guard spots open.
And that's when you decided to go. Now, how does that even happen? So would you go practice with them? Or?
No, I played in the NBA Summer League all summer. Played with the Orlando Magic Summer League and 2 Summer Leagues, and then I played with the Toronto Raptors. And by the end of the summer, the Cleveland Cavaliers, called my agent and said they wanted me to come to their camp.
But didn't they have 3 or 4 point guards?
No, they only had 1 signed or 2 signed, they probably only had 1 signed and four spots open for a point guard.
So go ahead. So you played the summer league.
I played the summer league. Did what I needed to do. Killed, destroyed everybody. Got an invite to the Cavs camp. Still not signed. They just invited me to come work out, and literally I just beat everybody out for a spot. I was a walk-on pretty much for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and 15 games into the season, I was a starter.
And did they let you know that was a possibility?
No, not at all.
So now from a financial sense, did they tell you they were going to sign you, or how did that happen?
No. When I was going into the camp, I didn't. My mindset was I have to make these guys sign me.
Mm.
I have to prove to them that I can play at this level and that they need to sign me. And of course, at the camp, they bring in, 10 point guards, 10 small forwards, 10 centers. They bring in about 50 guys to try to make 12, 15 roster spots.
Mm.
And here's the business side of the game. They bring in 50 guys to try to make 15 roster spots, but they might have had already 8 guaranteed players signed from the season before.
Mm.
So that only leaves what? 7 roster spots open. So you have 50 guys in camp trying to get these, get a spot out of these 7 spots.
Now, how did you? Okay, you said 15 games into the season.
Yeah, 15 games into the season, I became the starting point guard.
How did you? When did you get that news? They just told you come in the game one day.
I don't know. I don't remember that one. That was way too long ago. I remember the L.A. Story about how I became the point guard there. But as far as the
we'll get to L.A. 1 second. I want to don't jump all over the place. But do you remember the first time you played walking onto that court as an NBA player? Do you remember that moment? Your first basket?
Yeah, I remember my first basket. My first basket was a dunk.
Mm. How that happened?
I remember who was on too. What's his name? It was a fast break dunk, and like a lot of my dunks, I told in my mind when I dunk it on people, I tell them in my mind, meet me upstairs.
Mm.
I'm going upstairs, meet me up here.
Mm.
And I went up, and homeboy didn't jump. He kind of moved out of the way. But my first NBA points was an NBA dunk.
Yeah. How did you just like being from West 4th Street, being from New York City, being a Brooklynite? After that first game, did you celebrate? How did you? Did you enjoy that moment?
Nah, you know what? I never really had a chance to celebrate because I tell people to this day, although I had 6 years in the NBA, I never really felt like I was in the NBA.
Why is that?
Because nothing was guaranteed. Like I never had, up until I was signed with the Miami Heat, I never had a guaranteed contract. You know how you hear about guys signing 6-year deals for X amount of dollars? My contract was always, okay, we'll guarantee you or we'll sign you for the season, but we can cut you anywhere from now until January 15th. So until January 15th, my contract wouldn't have been guaranteed or wouldn't be guaranteed. So they could have cut me at any point before January 15th.
So that was like the first contract you had?
Yeah, that was pretty much all the contracts I had.
And what about money? Like, how did you know what was good? You just took whatever they gave you? Like,
nah, my first few years was I got the rookie minimum, my rookie season, and then my second year I got the second year minimum. Each year,
what is something like that? So,
well, when I was playing, the rookie minimum was $350,000.
Okay.
And then it goes up every year you play in the NBA. So the next year I believe was like $480, then $540. So the more years you play, your minimum goes up.
We grew up in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You didn't really make that type of money.
No, sir.
How the fuck did you react when you get this money in your account?
The first place I went was to the mall. Come on, man. And the first place I went was to the Foot Locker, Foot Action.
Okay. And bought kicks?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
What else? You mentioned that you and again, we'll bounce around. We're going to try to go through the career, but you mentioned that you also bought your parents a home.
I had a hand in buying my parents a home. I'm not going to say I was 100%. I put everything up for it. I had a hand in it. They did that themselves.
What is we spoke about some of the things you regret, but what are some of the things that you're most happy about with doing with the money when you had it?
Oh no, when I had it, I didn't. I'm the type of guy, if I have it, my peoples have it. I never, not did, anything for, my peoples, or I didn't just keep it to myself. It brings me joy being able to do for others. So what I did for my mom and my dad at the time, that brought me joy. You know, what I do for my sister, or what I did for my sister at the time, that brought me joy. Seeing them happy, being able to
Sure.
have them, you know, ask me, or, you know, just being able to you know, as growing up, you always want to give back to your family, don't you? You always want to be like, you know
Sure.
what? When I get this career, I want to, you know, I want to take care of my family. So that's what I did. I took care of my family, even my friends. You know, it brings me joy to, you know, go out to dinner, simple as dinner, and take care of the tab.
Did you always have later on to realize that you had people around you that were only there because you had money or had fame?
Nah.
So you had real people around you?
I always had real people around me. Always had real people around me. That's one thing I always had, was people who were there with me before I had money, before they even knew I was going to have it.
You know, one thing you said that really stuck out to me is you said, you know, even though you became successful, you weren't happy. Like, and I'll be honest with you, man, that shit really stood out to me, because I was like, here's a guy who probably fulfilled a lot of his dreams, or fulfilled a lot of what he expected. Like, yo, I would love to play in the NBA. I would love to have money. I would love to have cars. And you did all that, and you weren't happy. Why?
Well, you know what? I have a better understanding of why I wasn't happy now, looking back. When I was going through it, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was not keeping me happy. I don't know. I was always looking for more. Back then, I was always looking for the bigger car. It was if I had a car, I wasn't satisfied with that. I needed something else, so I got a truck. Then I wasn't satisfied with the truck, so I got a pickup truck. Then I wasn't satisfied with that. I needed a car with switches on it. Or, you know, I bought last year's Jordans, but I want this year's Jordans in the same style, different colorway. It was always something to outdo what I already did or already had. And now, you know, I know you want to talk about this later. You know, with what I have now in Christ and my spiritual walk, I know what I was missing back there. I was always chasing something that I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't satisfied. That's why I needed to buy sneakers every week. That's why you saw me every week. Matter of fact, that's why you saw me 3 times a week.
Yeah.
You know, because I was always looking for something to satisfy, you know, something that I was missing. You know, I was hooping in the NBA, but I wanted more. I was playing for the Lakers. I was playing for the Miami Heat. I played for the Cavs, but I still wasn't happy. Why? Like, if you think about it, I'm living my dreams. I'm providing for my family. I'm driving nice cars, traveling the world, got the hottest, you know, sneakers, you know, on my feet because of Premium Pete, taking care of me every week. I got jewelry. I got the fame. Why wouldn't I be happy? But I wasn't, and I guess we'll talk later about.
You know, did you ever think about? I know it's not something that we always do, but you ever think about going to see a therapist at that time?
A therapist?
No, just I know it sounds crazy.
A therapist?
But what I'm saying is not being happy and not. You ever think about talking to somebody? You know what I mean? Sometimes.
No, when I was in it, I didn't know I was unhappy.
Okay.
When I was in it, I didn't know I was unhappy. I was just looking for something greater, something more, something that I didn't have.
Yeah.
I didn't know going through it, I wasn't happy. That's why I said.
But do you believe in talking with somebody?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I believe it helps.
I believe it helps. I don't think you need to pay somebody to talk. You know, talk to somebody. I believe, you know, anybody who has an ear, you know, a friend, somebody who really cares for you.
But that's the thing. You got to find someone who cares for you, because, you know, sometimes people be, you know, chewing your ear, and it's like they don't even really care. And, you know, but you know, I guess you got to find that. I just believe that if you know, even me, sometimes I tell you that, you know, sometimes I wake up or I'll go through spurts of depression and not know why. And I'm like, yo, I got my kids, you know, I'm doing the best I could do. I'm following some of my dreams, you know, I got a great family. Like, why am I not happy? And, you know, when I was younger, I did have a therapist, but my parents put me there. So it's like, I didn't tell them anything. Yeah. I was like, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good. You know, like, I didn't give anything. But I think, you know, like I've had many people on that went to marriage counseling or went to regular counseling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, would you ever think? Have you ever sat with somebody?
Yeah, I have. You know, especially after my mom's passing.
Mm.
You know, I sat with somebody when I was about 10, 11 years old. You know, kind of speak about my feelings and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but at that age, I didn't really open up.
Yeah.
Didn't really know how to, you know, communicate my feelings or express my thoughts.
Yeah.
But now, I have a pastor in my life that I could do that too. I can open up and share and, you know, get some oversight.
That's, you know, finding God, but more so finding yourself is important.
Yes, sir.
We'll get to that. Let's move on to you're at Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
15 games into the season, you're the starting fucking point guard.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you play. How long did you stay there?
I was there for a year.
Okay, and that experience was
Incredible.
okay. And then why did you leave? Like, did you get? They didn't resign you?
Well, that was the year. That was the years before LeBron got there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in Cleveland, he was a senior in high school. LeBron.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know or paid attention, but they cleaned house for LeBron James.
Mm.
They even switched the arenas. They gutted it out, gave it a new name, put new seats. Like it became a whole new arena.
Did Dan Gilbert own it back then too? When you were there?
I don't remember.
Did you ever meet the owner at the time? You know him?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But I just, you know, it's so 2002 is so long ago.
Yeah. I remember seeing like a video of like Ricky Davis and a bunch of other people who commented on LeBron coming.
Yeah.
Some people, I think you said something good, but I think some people were like, "This guy think he's gonna come from high school and do and well, we'll see. We'll give him some time." Like, why do you think people didn't believe in high school stars at that time?
It's not that they didn't believe it, but they, you know, you got to remember this is guys' livelihoods. This is how we, you know, get paid to, you know, feed our families. We're not going to say that somebody else coming behind us is going to come in and, you know, potentially take our spot. You know, what sense would that make?
Yeah.
I'm the small forward of the Cleveland Cavaliers, but this guy is still in high school. I'm going to say, oh yeah, he could definitely come in and take my spot. No, I would have been just like, you know, Darius. I'm not gonna name
Darius
any names.
Miles.
I'm not gonna name any names.
Come on, man.
I'm not gonna name any names. But of course, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, this guy.
Where is Darius Miles now?
I don't know.
He's a LeBron's weed carrier. Now I'm only playing. I don't say it about somebody.
Stop.
But you know, you even think about people who came out of high school later on. You know, you think about like people like, you know, Sebastian Telfair and Lance Stevenson, even Kenny Anderson. You know, or like, you know, these guys that were almost larger than life coming out of high school. You know, so it's like, you know, there's a business for that. Yeah. Is college fully needed?
Yes.
Why?
For some guys.
Why?
Because some guys need that structure, that tutelage, that fine tuning. That's what college does. It gives, you know, everybody in high school is raw. We're raw talents in high school. There's no real, you know, coaching being done in the high school. It's just more babysitting in high school, you know, when it comes to the coaches. And, you know, you put all these talented guys together and then you just throw them out there, you give them a game plan and hope that they run the plays. But in college it's more, okay, now we have a system. Now we're going to teach you the proper techniques on how to, you know, shoot a jump hook, how to, you know, do a drop step, how to, you know, pivot this way, how to pivot that way, triple threat. So that's where you learn those basic fundamentals, you know, that you do in games. A lot of guys are talented in high school but lack the fundamentals, and that in college that's where you get it. And prime example, you know, look at Kwame Brown. Raw talent, didn't have the fundamentals. And that's, you know, and I'm not saying that to knock him. I'm just, you know, he went straight out of high school. Kevin Garnett, great talent, you know, but you know he's not Tim Duncan. You know Tim Duncan got the fundamentals. You know, Kevin Garnett's a great player. I love Kevin Garnett in my adult basketball career is my favorite player because he brings so much to the table, not just scoring, but he blocks shots. He plays defense. He, you know, motivates his guys to be better. He doesn't back down from nobody. He does everything. Gets assists. Everything. He all across the board. You see Kevin Garnett all across the board. He gets his numbers, not just in the scoring category. But when you think of Kevin Garnett, you think of how talented he was, and how raw he was, and how gifted he was. But when you think of Tim Duncan, you think of oh yeah, he had that. He was fundamental. He had that footwork. He had that turnaround backboard shot. He had all. It's two totally different talents.
Yeah.
Two totally different games. And not knocking Kevin Garnett again.
Sure. I'm not saying that. We're not trying to knock anybody. We're just keeping it real.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's take a quick break. Internets, listen. Bring up some basketball game. Bring up Love and Basketball. You fuck with Love and Basketball?
No, that's all right, man.
What's one of your favorite basketball movies or documentaries?
A documentary?
Yeah. You have one that you like?
I don't know. What would you consider Above the Rim a documentary?
I don't know. Above the Rim is super classic. Internet's throwing Above the Rim. And get yourself a glass of fruit punch, or maybe some pink lemonade. We sitting here with Smush Parker. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Yes, sir.
Cheer.
What up, y'all? This your main man, M. Greasy, a.k.a. Memphis Bleak, a.k.a. Greasy, a.k.a. Blizzard, a.k.a. Fuck Your Wife, right here on the Premium Pete Show. And I don't mean fuck her as like I don't like her. I mean fuck her as I take her from you. You heard me? Yeah.
And we're back sitting here with Smush Parker. Listen, you spent a year with the Cavs. Then you moved on over to where? The infamous L.A.?
No. The year after Cleveland, I actually tried out for the Atlanta Hawks, and business of basketball got me released. I don't want to go into that, but I got released from the Atlanta Hawks. Spent like 6 games in the CBA.
Mm-hmm.
This was before the NBDL, the CBA, and I was like, yo, this is for the birds. I need to get paid, so I took my talents across the water and played in Greece for a year.
Mm. Now, were you ever worried about being able to come back?
No, I was never worried about that.
Because, you're in the NBA and then you're in Greece, even though the views are nice, but, it's like, it's not the NBA.
No, it definitely wasn't the NBA.
And you were just playing in the NBA.
Yeah, but my agent, told me, having a good agent in your corner is a must. So he told me I could go overseas and make some bread and continue to, stay sharp and get better and grow as a player, develop as a player, and then I could always come back the next season and play in the NBA. How'd
you find your agent?
Through Rodney Parker.
Really?
Like I said, he had all this stuff. He had the blueprint, and I followed the blueprint. I never questioned his authority.
Did you, now looking back, and you're in a position, were you ever able to be a Rodney Parker to somebody else yet?
No, not yet.
Do you plan to be?
Yeah. Right now I'm currently, doing inspirational speaking to, various, kids at different, programs, whether it's a basketball camp, whether it's for Police Athletic League.
Okay.
I've worked heavily with them all summer, in the inner city, going up different playgrounds and talking to the youth in the playgrounds. So I'm definitely, trying to be more hands-on with the youth because there's a lot of, experience and a lot of knowledge that I acquired over the years that I want to share.
Sure. In sports, you have fans, and fans are critical, and they're judgmental, and it's amazing how, you could become so famous, you could become wealthy, but you also could be judged by so many people.
Yes, sir.
Like meaning, people who leave a team and then go to another team when you're in that stadium. They're like, you piece of shit, you fuckhead,
Yeah.
How, I know especially when you went over to the Lakers, and how did you deal with all that, like, hate from people? Did you see any of it, or?
Well, no. Playing in the NBA, you kind of get guarded from all of that stuff. I played overseas where the hatred and the fans have more control than the cops in the city at games. So I've been in arenas where the fans really control the outcomes of basketball games. So when I come here and play in the NBA, or when I was playing in the NBA and the fans are sitting in the stands with their legs crossed and they're suit and tie, and they're drinking their beer and just eating their hot dog. It was nothing for me. That's comfortable. I grew up playing at West 4th Street, where we got guys on a fence shaking a fence.
Sure. You ever had fans like curse at you and tell you you're a bum piece of shit?
I still have fans curse at me and tell me I'm a bum piece of shit.
Are these Laker fans?
They're Kobe fans.
You sure it's not any Laker fans? It's Kobe fans? Like they're still mad at you?
Yeah, they're still mad at me.
I even like doing research. Like, I never had to do research on you, but wanted to sit down and have you do this. I'm like, man, why do these Laker fans fucking have so much hate?
You know what it is? Because I was the only one that's speak up against call Kobe out on some of his his issues, or not issues, but just some of the stuff that we didn't agree on.
Yeah. Now I know you handled yourself professionally, but at the same time you're a Brooklyn kid.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like sometimes somebody gonna say something crazy. They may be able to get touched. There's plenty of people who played in the NBA that were bad boys, or just didn't play around with that shit. When you went through a lot of your situations with Kobe, you never ever try to for him to say something like, you know what I mean? Like I know you, but what I'm saying is like somebody saying some wild shit to you. You don't ever want to try to snuff them or something.
You know what? I had thoughts of it, but I wasn't crazy enough to put my job in jeopardy. It's something that you think about, and being from a Brooklyn kid, it's your natural instinct to be like, oh, what you say? But at the same time, it's with any job. If I could be, the coffee maker at Starbucks, but if I don't want to lose my job, if my coworkers say something crazy to me, I'm not gonna pop off at Starbucks because I want to keep my job. So that's what it was for me out in LA. If something happened and it went down, I wasn't quick to just pop off.
No, I respect that. Let's get to how you even got to LA. So you played in Greece. Okay.
Came back, worked out, got a gig. It's funny I call it a gig. I got a gig with the Detroit Pistons.
Okay. How long did you play with them?
I played with them for 2 months. Remember the contract I was telling you about? About it not being guaranteed for the year.
Yes.
They cut me right at January 14th.
Oh, okay. So they
again
did.
Business of basketball.
Okay.
So I'll explain the business of basketball at this time. So, I was playing with the bad boys. Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Chauncey Billups. These guys just got finished winning the championship the season before. So you already know they walking around with the. I don't know if y'all remember, Rasheed Wallace had the WWF championship belts. He bought everybody in the starting five the WWF championship belts. It was gold. It was crazy. It was like this big. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. Great team, by the way. Love playing with those guys. Larry Brown is a great guy, great coach. Hard to play for though. Likes to scream.
How'd you deal with screaming?
I could not get comfortable. Playing for him and playing for Phil Jackson is like night and day. But back to the business of basketball, there was a rookie on the team by the name of Horace Jenkins. We were both point guards, and we were going into the season, and because he was a rookie and he was getting a rookie minimum, and I was, a second year in the NBA, and I was getting the second year minimum because we kind of did similar stuff. There wasn't, I wasn't getting any playing time playing behind Chauncey Billups and Lindsey Hunter, so they didn't need me. So they kept him because it didn't cost him.
It was a
much.
business move. Yeah.
So business about I got, even though I might, in my eyes, I knew I was a better player, but they didn't need me. They didn't need him.
So you came back from Greece.
I came back
to try out for the Pistons.
Yep, I made the Pistons.
Team.
Yep, and got released in January.
How did you stay? Honestly, I mean, how the hell did you stay without doubting yourself and not getting?
I never doubted myself. I knew I proved that I was good. I proved everywhere I went. I proved that I was good enough to make it. It was just the business of basketball. Every time I got called into the coach's office, it was the conversation was never, listen, you're not good enough. This guy is better than you. We need to release you. It was always, well, you did everything you could do to make this team. I appreciate you being here, but honestly, this guy's cheaper, and it costs. So the business of basketball was always the reason why I got cut from any team in the NBA.
So you get cut from the Pistons.
Get cut from the Pistons. Go down to the NBDL. This was the first year the NBDL was put in place.
What is that for people who don't know?
The NBA, National Basketball Development League.
Okay.
Everybody should know what the NBDL is.
No, I mean maybe
now.
somebody who's listening who
Now,
doesn't. Yeah.
I mean,
we have an audience listening who doesn't even watch basketball.
True. So I went down to the NBDL and played about 6 or 7 games down there. Got the NBDL's first 2 triple doubles. I was down there averaging a damn near triple double every game. Got called up to the Phoenix Suns. Again, this is when Steve Nash was there. Who else was there? Tim Thomas, Sean Marion, Rajon Bell, the Brazilian Blur.
Barbosa.
Yeah. So they called me up. I played. I got 2 10-day contracts there. After the 2 10 days, they kind of let me go, and I finished the season in the NBDL. And then it wasn't until the next season that I made the LA roster.
How did you make the LA roster?
The same way I made every single other roster. I got invited to camp and I beat everybody out for the spot. Everybody. And I was like a horse racer. Like I was like a horse. You put me up against anybody, I'm gonna look them in the eyes and I'm gonna beat you out for that spot. I'm from Brooklyn. I wasn't coming in second to nobody.
Sure. Take us through the first day you met Kobe Bryant.
Did I ever meet Kobe Bryant?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever met Kobe Bryant.
Never shook your hand?
I mean, we might have given me dap, on a basketball court, but we never talked. We never hung out.
You never went up and said what's up when you?
There was none of that. Unfortunately, it was just a coworker. Never really engaged.
But were you the only one, or he just didn't talk with anybody?
No, anybody.
So there was nobody on that team that he was cool with?
He might have been cool with Lamar Odom. He might have chopped it up with him a little bit.
Why do you think he was cool with him?
I don't want to, get into that. I don't know why he chose to be friendlier to others than he was to others. But, it was a situation where I, at the end of the day, was in the wrong for, some of the decisions that I made when I was in LA.
No. What do you mean by that?
No, because at the end of the day, he was the leader.
Yeah.
He was the leader. Hands down, he was the leader. I wasn't coming in to, try to dethrone him. I wasn't, my job wasn't to come in and be a leader. My job was to fall in line. And, I didn't fall in line.
Yeah.
It don't matter who.
Is there a reason why you didn't do that?
Well, because I'm from Brooklyn. I'm hard-headed. I'm stubborn. I mean, it's a gift and a curse. It got me to where I needed to get to, but it also, got me cut.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When people speak about your relationship with Kobe, it usually always gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
But in the Western Conference Series against the Suns, where you stole the ball from Steve Nash,
yes, sir,
to help tie the game, there was a big embrace between the two of you, you and Kobe. Do you remember any good moments with him like that? Yeah,
we had several. And what a lot of people don't understand is me and Kobe really never had a falling out when I was in LA. We never had a falling out. We never had an exchange of negative words. We never had an exchange of him saying, yo, you suck, or why are you even here? And me, I never said to him, yo, nigga, pass the ball. Like, it was nothing. We were teammates. When you did see him talk to me on the court, it was, yo, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Look for me here, or, when you do this, try to do that. Like it was all basketball it was a basketball relationship. When we stepped on the court, we both wore the Laker jersey, so we both had the same agenda. To try
Teammates.
Yeah. But, outside of the court, we just never, he went his way, I went mine. And it was never any bad animosity.
I remember you told me a long time ago that organization catered to him like you never seen before. You know, meaning.
I mean, I might have been out of line for saying that.
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to say.
No, I might
put
have
you
been.
on. Yeah.
No, I might have been, immature in some of the things that I said, in previous interviews about, my relationship with Kobe and the organization and things like that. But like you said, I'm from Brooklyn and I keep it real. I speak my mind. I don't hold my tongue. And do I regret some of the stuff I said? No. Will I repeat some of the stuff I said? No. But I don't regret it. I mean, at the end of the day, I was honest with my feelings. I was true to myself, and I will never try to sit here and say that I want to retract a statement because I said what was on my heart.
Yeah. You ever run into him again?
No.
Listen, it is fun. The only thing I didn't enjoy, to be honest with you, I respect Kobe as a player and an icon in the NBA. But, when they brought up that issue that you had with him, super cocky. And I guess he's just throwing shade back if he felt that shade was coming his way. But, I didn't, particularly even from knowing you, I didn't like the way, he was like, was he playing in, France, or was he playing overseas? Well, tell him maybe he'll get back here one day and see what we do over here. Like, I don't know if you heard that.
It was a bunch of interviews that he did afterwards, and like you hit it on the head when you said that he was just trying to get back at some of the things I said about him.
Yeah.
For a lot of the people who don't know what happened, like I said, I told you that we didn't have any bad blood when I was in LA. But I did do an interview, something similar to like this, a little podcast down at West 4th Street. And some of the things I said went viral, and they were, about him and what my thoughts were about some of his leadership decisions and who he didn't talk to and some of the things he actually did say to me while I was out there. And it went viral, and I guess it hurt his feelings, it hurt his ego, and his pride was, cut a little bit, so he decided to retaliate.
Listen, you played under Phil Jackson, the good Phil Jackson. As a Knick fan, yeah. I don't even fucking like saying his name anymore. Man. But you played under Phil Jackson,
yes, sir.
Which they call obviously the Zen Master.
The Zen Master.
Let me ask you, what odd things would he do in practice?
No, funny story.
Or games.
I don't have any odd things that he would do because I didn't find anything
odd that he did.
Yeah, but the funniest thing in the world to me was when I was playing in LA. This was the time where he was having back issues, and he just got finished having back surgery, and he needed his high chair to sit on the sideline. But he, it was uncomfortable for him to walk. So I don't know if you remember back, what do they call them? Those big scooters they had. Before the hoverboards, they had like the big wheels. You stand on there and you kind of lean forward.
Yeah, like that mall cop dude. I forgot,
yeah. What are they? What are those called?
I don't even know.
Well, they had Segways.
Segways, okay.
Just imagine, Phil Jackson's about 6'8", 6'9". Just imagine this big 6'8", 6'9" riding a Segway in the gym, coaching while we're in practice, just rolling around like he's RoboCop on this Segway. With a straight back.
With a whistle.
Listen, we running up and down the court, fast break. He's rolling on the sideline. It was the craziest, scene. Just picture it. Just try to picture you on a basketball court and this 6'10" guy now is on a Segway just rolling in the gym.
What are some things that he's said to you over that time there that stuck with you?
No, he's a real mellow kind of guy. He never really had a lot to say because he's not a teacher. He's a motivator. He didn't, he wasn't overly coaching coach, but he allowed his players to play, and that's what makes him great because he allows his players to play. It's a comfortable environment. You go out there and play your game, play through your mistakes. Not get, subbed out because you made a mistake like some coaches. He was big on not embarrassing you as a player. And he said that I'm not here to try to embarrass you as a player. So what he would do is if you messed up during the game, he wouldn't like sub you out the next play like most coaches do.
Sure.
He will let the play go on 4 or 5 possessions before he subbed you out. Because he also wanted to see if you was mentally strong enough to play through your mess up. That's what he was about, being mentally tough. He wanted mentally tough players.
You played for 6 years. You played on a bunch of different teams.
Mm-hmm.
Best team you ever played?
The Lakers.
No.
Well, the best team I ever played on?
No, the best team you ever played against.
Against the best team I ever played against.
I mean, you could add 2 or 3. It doesn't have to just be one.
Well, it was always tough. When I was in LA, it was always tough playing in Utah. That's when Darren Williams was Darren Williams. That's when he was nice. AK-47, Carlos Boozer. Who else they had? Who else did they have? It was tough playing in Utah. It was also tough playing in San Antonio. Although I gave Tony Parker buckets because he has my last name.
Yeah.
I destroyed Tony Parker when I played against him. He was too small. But again, Tony Parker, you know what? Tony Parker wasn't the Tony Parker that he is or was later in his career when I played against him.
How do you think that happened?
Experience. A lot of guys, think that it's easy playing in the NBA. It's not. It definitely. You definitely have to mature into that game. You definitely have to mature into the play. Like Chris Paul wasn't Chris Paul that he is for the Clippers that he was when he was in when he was down south. When he was in New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
He's a point guard now. He's a point guard now. But he wasn't that point guard when he was in New Orleans. I destroyed Chris Paul when he was in New Orleans. Matter of fact, my dad will tell you, I was giving him so much fits that my dad felt like he headbutted me on purpose.
Yeah.
And I needed to get 4 stitches in my lip.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel that because the LA team at that time wasn't, the greatest, that you get a lot of blame for that? Meaning, there wasn't a bunch of players that were great at the time. You were working with. Yeah.
No, what I hear is the LA Lakers weren't the greatest at that time. That's why I was the starting point guard.
I also seen someone that they were saying that the front office didn't go out and buy anybody. They want to be cheap.
Yeah, that's what Kobe decided to say.
Oh, Kobe said it. See, I didn't even know that he said that.
Kobe said that. After in retaliation. That's what all came out.
Clap back.
Yeah.
And whatever. I want you that playoff game against the Suns. Special. And you play against Nash. Walk us through that game, going into that playoff series, and you're playing that series.
Well, at that time, Phoenix was at the top of the NBA. They was the number 1 seed, and the NBA had the best record. Steve Nash was MVP that season. He was playing phenomenal. Double-doubles, averaging 15 assists. They were high scoring. Their philosophy, Mike D'Antoni's philosophy. I don't know if a lot of people know, but his philosophy is, I want to get a quick shot in the first 6 seconds of the shot clock. If we don't get it, then I want our shot to come in the last, within the last 6 seconds. So again, everything was fast paced. Get the ball up quick. Take the first open shot. They didn't believe in fouls. They don't want to slow the game up. So going into that playoff series, Phil Jackson, my role specifically wasn't to score the ball. My role wasn't to play offense. They said your assignment for this game is to slow Steve Nash down. That was my assignment. Slow him down. This is where he likes to catch the ball, so we want you to not even go for the offensive rebound. We want you to just go straight to him, face guard him, 94 feet. Make sure he doesn't even get the outlet pass. We want somebody else to get the outlet pass. My job was to keep the ball out of his hands, and that was my focus throughout the whole series, to kind of disrupt their offense through stopping him.
Is there a lot of groups for that go over that? Like, do you like meetings and stuff like that? Like, people who don't know how the NBA moves, like, before you play that, obviously practice.
Oh yeah, we definitely practice that, but that's not something you can practice per se, because
No, not to do that. Meaning the meetings you have to go over this type of stuff.
No, we have game film or game sessions or game tape sessions, and we have I'm not gonna say a packet, but like a handout of game plans, or a breakdown of what each player does, know what they're averaging, what their strengths are, and what we want, what our game plan is to take what we're planning on taking away. We go over, game scenarios.
Watch tape?
Yeah, we watch tape, and then we walk through game scenarios, defensive schemes. Okay, when they run this play, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
When they run this play, this is what we're going to do. When this play gets the ball, this is what we're going to do. We have breakdowns like that, walkthroughs in practice.
Yeah. Is the triangle offense hard to learn?
The easiest offense in the world. You just need to have basic common sense.
Yeah. Did you believe in it when?
I did. Yeah. I mean, listen, I love the triangle offense. I believed in it so much. I hated that there was one guy out there just shooting every single shot. Because in a triangle offense, everybody can eat.
Sure.
Everybody on the floor at that time can average 15 points a game if you ran the triangle offense correctly. The triangle offense is a movement offense where everybody is involved. Everybody from 1 through 5 touches the ball, and they have scoring opportunities. And if it's run right, everybody can average double figures.
You played overseas. You played in Morocco last year.
Mm-hmm.
You played in China.
Mm-hmm.
Played in Paris.
No, not Paris.
Played in Italy.
Not Italy.
Played in Brazil.
Not. Come on, you naming all these places I
Come
do
on,
want to
man.
play. You naming all these travel places that I've been to for vacation.
Yo, let me ask you something. NBA groupies.
Excuse me?
NBA groupies. Is it real?
Come again? Pardon?
No.
I wouldn't know. I never had NBA groupies.
No?
I wasn't. My stardom wasn't at that level.
Did you go out afterwards in something like when you were in that way?
Of course. Mm-hmm. Of course. I was never a club goer, but I did, go to clubs on occasion. On occasion.
Before I asked you the best team you played against, is there best players that you played against?
Of
Somebody
course.
that sticks out to you?
Yeah. The hardest guy I ever had to guard was Baron Davis in his prime.
Wow.
A healthy BD in his prime, a problem. Problem. Strength, speed, quickness, explosiveness, hops, jumper, handle. He had game. Like, he had street game. He was playing. Matter of fact, he played the NBA like he was playing it out at the park.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He was out there doing the whole shake and bake, and he had it all.
BD?
When I say he had it all, he had it all.
Wow. Who else? Anybody else that sticks out to you like that?
Who I had to guard? I mean, Steve Nash was a problem also. Totally different games than Baron Davis. Steve Nash again was more so energy, fundamentals, attack you every single play. Like the offense literally ran through him every single play. Like certain teams that you have point guards where they pass the ball and they go run in the corner. That's what Derek Fisher does. Pass the ball, go run in the corner, and I'm playing off the ball defense. That's to any kind of defensive player. That's a cakewalk in the NBA.
Sure.
But when there's a player who attacks you every single play, because if they don't make it happen, nothing is happening on their team. Like every single thing that happened in Phoenix those 2 years was going through Steve Nash. He was penetrating, getting into the gaps, probing, getting into the gaps, dribbling, finding this guy for open three, finding this guy for an open dunk, penetrating, shooting threes, shooting one-footed layups, shooting off balance. Like it was a problem.
After LA, didn't you go to the Heat after that?
Yes, sir.
How was that? How was playing over there? How long did you play with the Heat?
Well, I got that was that would have been the first time that I actually really got a contract in the NBA.
Really?
I signed a 2-year deal with them.
For how much?
Guaranteed 2-year deal.
Was it the most money you ever made?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. I was down there with D Wade, Shaq, Jay Will, and what's his name? I forget his name.
Who?
Alonzo Mourning was down there.
Okay. How was that experience? Did you play with them? Like, did you play?
I didn't really play. I didn't play with them. But let me tell you how I got that job.
Okay.
So, everybody knows I played with Kobe. That the year after I played with LA, I was a free agent. I'm back here in New York. I went to 4040 Jay-Z's club, to watch a Roy Jones fight. I'm a big Roy Jones fan. And I was in there by myself, and it was after hours, and guess who rose up? Shaq. Shaq rose into 4040 Dolo. He's by himself. So I'm in the back in one of the rooms hanging out after the fight. He's in there hanging out with me. We talking, having, Kobe conversation, Kobe jokes and things like that. He asked me, yo, when you playing that next season? I said, yo, I'm a free agent, don't know where I'm playing at just yet. He called Phil Jackson on the spot. Not Phil Jackson. Pat Riley. He called Pat Riley on the spot. Pat Riley didn't pick up, but he left him a message. Do you know the next day my agent had a contract on the table for me to sign with the Miami Heat?
Fuck. That goes to show you it's who you know.
Yeah.
I mean, your talent is going to take you to the next level, but it's who you know.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah.
So
now, did he have more Kobe stories than you?
Of course he did. But we didn't really we just laughed, at the whole idea. He had Kobe stories. I had Kobe stories. He was like, yo, how did that go? I was like, yeah, you already know. But it was lighthearted. We, we was just chopping it up.
Yeah.
Shaq is a great guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Shaq is a great guy. When I tell you it don't get no better than Shaq. It don't. In the NBA. At that fame level, he jokes, he kids, he'll talk to anybody. He when you see him, he doesn't even approach you like he's Shaquille O'Neal. He's just a regular dude, and that's how that's his personality.
Yeah, he's bigger than life.
Yeah,
you go to Miami, and that was the last stop that you played in the NBA, and then you went back overseas.
Yeah,
I've heard you say before that there was the fans are crazy in overseas, but they're very loyal. And they care. To me, it's just like hip hop. Like, you go overseas, they know every word. Sometimes in New York, people are afraid to show love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How has the fans been overseas to you?
They're passionate, man. They actually help bring the love of the game back for me. I told you before, my playing in Greece was my first stop. Got a Greek Cup. I won a Greek championship out there in Greece. First years out of the NBA, I played in China. Played 2 years there, won 2 championships. Then I went to Russia. I've been to Croatia. I've been to Venezuela.
God damn, you got a lot of stamps on your passport.
Yeah, listen, I'm on my second, man. I'm about to move to my third. Lebanon, Greece again.
And where you going this year? You
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
But you'll wind up somewhere.
Yeah, I've tried to play somewhere different every year.
Yeah.
Because when I decided to leave the NBA, I wanted to travel the world. Yeah. And that was one thing I told myself. I was like, listen, basketball is going to open the doors for me to see different parts of the world that I never even thought I would be able to see. So I said, I'm going to kill 2 birds with one stone. I'm going to do what I love doing and travel the world at the same time.
Who would have thought a kid from Brooklyn was playing in West Fourth?
Shout out to West Fourth.
I mean, that would travel the world.
Yeah.
Couple things before we wind down this episode. You recently just said, I don't know when this was, but with the Big Three, that you wanted to do a Big Three. Were you joking around?
No, I definitely wanted to play in the Big Three.
Yeah,
I definitely had the opportunity to play in the Big Three. I went to the combine, and it didn't work out for me. I didn't make any of the teams. It happens. I hear I didn't actually follow the season, but it looked like it was a successful season.
Sure. Maybe he'll come back for another one.
Yeah.
It's good for things like that to open up, because then I feel like it opens up other doors.
Yes, sir.
Any regrets looking back?
Regrets? No, I don't have any regrets,
Mm.
because I wouldn't be the player or the person sitting before you today without those experiences.
You spoke about church. You spoke about, finding God. And really, since, I know you for many years, your mindset is totally different in the sense of, I even think when you speak about Kobe, to be honest with you, you're more heartfelt in the sense that you're like, maybe like taking responsibility more, or just like, what made you find God like that?
Well, when I was playing in the NBA and I was going through my unhappy stage when I didn't know I was unhappy, but I did know I was missing something. I didn't know I was unhappy at the time, but I did know I was missing something. Mind you, again, like I said, I'm living my dreams. As a child, I wanted to play in the NBA. I'm playing in the NBA. Growing up, I wanted cars. I had cars. When I was growing up, I wanted jewelry. I had jewelry. When I was in high school, I wanted girls, because that's when I started,
Sure.
knowing what girls were in high school. I had the women, I had it all. I had everything that I wanted, but it was still something that was missing. I didn't know what, and that's why I wasn't happy. But I didn't know I wasn't happy at the time. I just knew something was missing. It wasn't until I was reunited with my church, reunited with Christ, that void that I've been searching for pretty much my whole life was filled. Like that emptiness, that desire to want and need something more was filled. And the crazy thing is, I didn't have the NBA anymore. I didn't have all the cars. I didn't have the fame. I didn't, I wasn't, flossing with all the jewelry and stuff like that. All of that was gone. But when I found Christ, that void that I was missing back in the day was filled, and I was happier. I was happier with Christ and not with the NBA than I was with the NBA and not with Christ.
Sure. People coming into the league, young kids in high school, young kids in college, what advice would you give somebody if they're listening to somebody?
Well, that's interesting, because I'm battling whether I want to, lead them to a Christ walk in their early age, or just tell them that, to invest their money and, don't give up in your dreams, and, don't let no one tell you that you can't do something, or don't get discouraged with your circumstances.
Sure.
Because that's another thing. Like, I didn't allow my current circumstances to dictate whether or not I was good enough to play in the NBA or not. Mm-hmm. Like, if we sat down and walked through my entire journey, at every stage there was a setback, but I didn't allow my setback to tell me that I wasn't good enough. In my mind, I believed in myself. Even though at the time it looked like nobody believed in me, I believed in myself, and that's why I kept elevating, because I believed in myself. So if there was any kind of message that I would tell to the youth growing up is, don't allow your current circumstances to dictate whether or not you believe that you're good enough or not. And that goes in life, not just basketball. That goes in life.
That makes sense, because even when you say, like, when you go through circumstances, I think that's when people give up. Mm-hmm. Even we look at, like, recovering addicts, it's like their girlfriend leaves them, somebody passes away in the family, they lose their job, they go back and use. And, you got to just stay strong regardless in life. No, I agree with that totally. I'll tell you one thing. Listen, your journey has been definitely amazing, up and down. But you stuck through it, and like I said, I'm gonna end it this way. What I'm gonna say. Well, actually, what else are you doing right now? Where are you on Instagram? What?
I'm at Smush Parker Elite, Smush _Parker _Elite. It's my Instagram and Facebook page.
You're on Twitter?
Nah,
okay.
I'm not on Twitter.
I'm not Twitter.
I'm not big enough for Twitter yet, man. That's for that's superstardom right there.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to say what I said before as we end this episode. I appreciate you stopping by and going over the journey.
Yes, sir.
But I do want to say you're a walk-on that made it into the NBA.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So from the playgrounds in New York City to the courts all over the world, you know, you played in them. And I think, you know, when you look at it like that, that's an inspiration, you know. So, but, you know, maybe have Kobe over for Christmas this year, you know.
Maybe.
know?
Maybe I'll have him over for some nutmeg.
But anyway, internets, listen, Smush Parker. Check him out.
sir.
Check him what's going on. And we'll see you next episode.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, cheer. Internets, if you enjoyed that episode, I want you to reach out to me. Email me. Tweet me, okay? Email thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com. At Twitter, @PremiumPete, @PremiumPete Show. On Instagram, @PremiumPete, @PremiumPete Show also. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you didn't like. And also, to all my small businesses or big business, no matter how small or big you are, you want to advertise with The Premium Pete Show, get at me. thepremiumpeteshow@gmail.com, and we'll figure something out, okay? Now make sure you subscribe, rate, and tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'll see you next episode. Cheer.